Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Star Trek Discovery Season 4. So I just wanted to give my thoughts on this season. I talked about it a few in the past, but I finally got to watch it just a couple of weeks ago. I just want to give my general thoughts. I will say that this season is a whole lot better than the other three. It's not perfect, all right? They still can't trek, but it's an improvement from the past seasons. Like, you gotta give it up to them for that and everything. They finally listened to the fans and they tried to alter their show to please, Star Trek fans and stuff. But once again, it's just not perfect. But I can appreciate that it's a whole lot better than the other ones. I remember I watched season 2 finale, like also a couple of weeks ago, and my eyes literally just wanted to throw up. It just did, because it's just like, it's too much, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to season 1 and 2 of Discovery and season 1 of Picard, CBS realized something. Yo, we're wasting a lot of money on this and people really hate it. So, because of that, a lot of the other seasons started to get a reduce in budget. Season 3 and season 4. Now, first all need to say I love the uniforms. I love them. I love them. I love them. They're bright, they're colorful, they're vibrant. Reminds me of like the TNG era, or the original series. I really enjoy the uniforms, and I'm so glad they got away from those gray uniforms that they shown at the very end of season 3. But then, of course, they made a bunch of those uniforms. I'm like, crap, dude, what are we gonna do with them? So, once again, this is what I hate in Star Trek, when they have some officers wear one type of uniform and then the other officers wear something completely different. So we get some other officers wearing the gray uniforms and stuff. I like it when everybody just wears the same, like, basic style uniform. I don't need variants and all this other stuff, because the problem with that is all the variants can be used for another Star Trek show, or be shown in the past or in the future episodes if somebody does time travel, something like that. And a lot of those variant outfits are really nice and everything. I really like them and stuff. I will say that, the mystery aspect of what's going on this season was really interesting. What was the DMA? You know what I'm saying? It's over here destroying planets and everything. And it appeared to be that of a weapon, but as we find out, it's nothing more but like a drilling tool, like a gardening tool type thing. Just really big, really advanced, and super powerful and everything. And so they realized that, like, whoever created this thing, if they can make a drilling tool this powerful, then their weapons are even more advanced. So they finally started using their brains. They're like, crap, dude, we just can't blast our way through this. I really appreciated that. And they try to do the diplomatic approach, which is something, we saw in older Star Treks a lot, but something you really don't see all that much in New Trek. And I love how they're starting to use their brains again as Starfleet officers. Also, Starfleet, the Federation is in the process of trying to reunite Starfleet's trying to reunite the Federation. It's gonna be a little hard, because all these species have been apart from each other for many, many, many years because of the burn. And it was nice to see the reformation of the Federation and stuff. I would have liked to see more episodes on that, like them going to the planets and trying to convince the people, yo, rejoin us and everything. But of course, this is New Trek, and they have to go for what's ever suspenseful and action-packed. And that is the DMA and the alien species that created it and stuff. And let's just get this out the way right here, right now. This season had a lot of book in it. Like him and what's that dude's name? Tolic or whatever. it had a lot of them in there. It was basically revolving around them, which is the problem I have in New Trek, at least in this show, when it revolves around a one single character. Normally, Michael Burnham, and because it revolves around Book, it has to revolve around her because that is her lover. And I really feel bad because not that many characters, like always, get like a solo episode. But speaking of solo episodes, I will say the Tilly departure episode was one of the best Star Trek Discovery episodes ever because it actually felt like old Trek. Basically, it's her and she's having to lead these cadets on like a field mission to help them better cope with each other because of the burn. Those species have been separated from each other and they can't get along. And now with Starfleet Academy up and running again, she's trying to, make them feel all copacetic so they can kumbaya with one another. And she brings Adira, that's the person's name, I can't remember. I think it's Adira. And so, like, of course, they're on the alien planet, and of course, something crazy happens because there's an alien monster trying to eat them. Classic Trek. So they have to literally get over themselves and work together as a team. While all this is going on, the B plot of the story is very similar to that of the A plot. The adults, the leaders of like the planets and everything, they're trying to reform the Federation, but they can't get along with one another. So, of course, Michael Burnham makes like a Michael Burnham type speech and everything. And they all decide, all right, we're going to kumbaya for now and test this out and everything. And then, of course, we saw the departure of Tilly. I don't know why the actress left. It's never been explained. I do know she's supposed to come out with a brand new show, so maybe she was filming that. But when you look at the time, the date and everything, it doesn't really seem like they would like mesh together so where they can't film both. So that's not only my assumption. Maybe she was filming the other show and stuff like that. Now, at that point in time, nobody knew that the 5th season of Discovery was going to be the last. So, question is, why would she want to leave Star Trek Discovery? Well, it's probably the fan base and everything. They're not too kind of her. I've said this before. Tilly is probably one of the worst Starfleet officers and characters I've ever seen in an extremely long time, if not the worst. It's her overall personality. She is the comic relief of the show. But yet she's supposed to be extremely smart. And those two things clash with one another. And I like the actress, I just don't like the character. The character would never have made it in Starfleet. And so, like, it's kind of baffling that she would be this type of person. She's kind of similar to Barclay, but Barclay still was able to show some type of, I don't know, like he was a coward and he should never have been in Starfleet. But the way he acted wasn't comedic relief for the simple fact of making people laugh. His was more of a mental disorder type thing, whereas Tilly's just Tilly. Also, fans are always commenting on the actress's weight. Since season 1, she's been getting bigger and bigger, and fans have not been very polite. Even fans who are overweight themselves. I think she's lovely and everything. I think she's a good looking woman, and so it's really sad that people make fun of her. And but I do understand that in Star Trek, older Trek, there were skinny stars and everything. A lot of I can't talk right now for some reason. There were skinny stars, but the males had some weight to them. You just couldn't tell because of the way their uniforms hugged their body and everything, and because they was black. But for the most part, older Star Trek stars had to be forced on a diet and they had to wear Spanx. Whereas in New Trek, it's basically whatever you look like is whatever you look like. And so, like, her character left. And that episode was really good until the end when she left, because one problem I'm having with New Trek is all this modern dialogue, how people talk to each other and all this other stuff. It looks too chummy and everything. It looks too modern. They use modern slang, and that's how it was with her and Michael Burnham acting like sisters and girlfriends and stuff. And they could have did it more professionally Trek. But other than that, I think it was a really good episode. And it does suck we lost her. That ain't the only person we lost. I still don't know this character's name. I'm sorry. I'm 4 seasons in and I still don't know the bridge crew's name whatsoever other than the important people, the actual main stars. The bridge crew is basically recurring guest star characters. Whoever the black dude is from communications. Which, why is there still a communications officer in the 32nd century? They should have retconned his station and do something different. But anyway, he left, and I think he did leave to do another show, I believe, and stuff. And so they replaced him with another black guy, but both guys don't really get nothing to do. Then in one episode, we see the original black dude back with no speaking lines, just a cameo. And then he's in the same episode with the new black guy, and then in the next episode, it's the new black guy. And it's just kind of like, I don't blame him from taking on a new show. Because I'm supposed to know this dude's name, and I have no idea. And he never does anything on the show. And as for the new guy, when they went to the planet of the alien species that created DMA, the 10C, which is a weird name to call that alien species, but hey, whatever. You would assume, since they can't communicate with this alien species, you would bring somebody who's a communications officer who does linguistics. No, they bring Saru, who's also a captain. I'll get into that next. And they bring the doctor and the pilot for whatever reason, and Burnham, because she's also the captain. You think they would have brought him because he's able to talk to alien species, but hey, this is new Trek, you know what I'm saying? But they did ask his opinion on something about the alien species, so at least they gave him something to do. But what I hate is that when they do bring in these recurring bridge officers, and they finally get them to say something, they always have a smile on their face like, I finally get to say something. I finally get to act. Now as for Saru, why are there 2 captains on the ship? That don't make no sense. Like, okay, I really love when Saru was the actual captain in seasons 2 and a little bit of 3. But for the most part, 1 and 2 and a little bit of 3. I loved it when he was captain. First, he was the first only alien captain we ever had. And he was really good at the role. He's kind of like a Spock, Data, Tuvok type character who's soft-spoken and everything. But he is now the captain. That was awesome. But then he left the show for whatever bizarre reason in season 3, only to come back. And so I'm like, okay, well, if he's coming back, I guess he's going to get demoted, or are they going to give him his his own ship? Or why is he captain if he ain't a captain of a ship? Well, he's back on Discovery, and he's the first officer, and he's back at the science station. But he's a captain. This don't make no sense whatsoever in Star Trek. A starship does not have 2 captains. They have a captain and an executive officer who's either a full-ranking commander or a lieutenant commander. And yet, this dude is a captain. And I'm just kind of like, what the freak nuts and everything. And what's worse is that him and Burnham go on away missions together. That is dumb. Not only is one captain leaving, but the second captain is leaving. So therefore, if they both die on their away missions, you're out of a captain and everything. Make it make sense, dude. Kurtzman. Just make it make sense, man. Just demote his behind already to commander, or demote Burnham and everything. But basically, Saru's thing is that he's in love, or he's crushing on, like, what is she, a Vulcan, Romulan? I really don't even know no more, because like it's hard to distinguish people now when it comes to the 2 species, because now Vulcans and Romulans, they can either have long hair, short hair. They can the Romulans can either have cranial ridges or they don't. And it's just like, keep it consistent, man. Keep it back to old school. Give the Romulans those little eyebrow, like, forehead lumpy things, like that's all you gotta do. So we know it's a Romulan and everything. But I think she's Vulcan. And so he's crushing on her, she's crushing on him, and it's a really nice thing. He's never really crushed on nobody before. I thought he crushed on Burnham in season 2, but I guess not. They're just friends or whatever. As for Burnham herself, she's a whole lot more pleasant than what she's been in the last couple of seasons. It still revolves around her, sure. And she doesn't take a back seat, which she should, because this is not old Trek in the form of the original series where, a captain will go on an away mission and stuff like that. I will say this. I've always liked Sonequa Martin Green. Like, I've always liked her as an actress on Once Upon a Time and The Walking Dead. But I've said this before. She can't act Trek. She tries too hard. She just really tries. She's way too emotional when she talks with her facial expressions. And they come off as cringy and desperate and immature and everything, and I don't like that. Also, she talks way too fast, and when she ain't talking way too fast, she talks in a whisper, so I can never understand what she says. And so that really bugs me because she is a good actress. Despite what the toxic people say about her, she is a good actress. It's just when she's in Star Trek, she doesn't act like she knows how to act. And that's really strange and bizarre, because she can actually act, but she acts like she can't for some reason when she's on this show. And I'm getting kind of tired of her saying, let's fly. Like, I know that's the new thing in Star Trek where you have to have a thing whenever you tell somebody to go to warp and everything. It's just the way she does it is too soft and lovely. Like, let's fly. I'm like, just say it with a commanding voice, man. This is your crew. Picard yourself up. You know what I'm saying? All the other Star Trek captains, they gave a very commanding voice when they told somebody to go to war. That's why I want to hear, Anyways, she is once again conflicted because she has to be a Starfleet officer, but she also loves her man Book. And Book is on revenge because he wants to destroy the DMA. And because it destroyed his home planet and stuff with the people that was left on there, like his brother and stuff. And so what really bothers me is that, this is exactly why you don't have your lover be on a starship with you. Which is why, if they do Star Trek Legacy, Seven and Raffi either need to break up or one of them needs to go to a different ship. Because it's going to compromise all their missions and stuff. And plus, Seven and Raffi can't even get along anyway. So, seriously, what's the point of that relationship? I know it was meant to be a joke in season 1, but it's ran its course, all right? It has run its course. Anyway, but I do like how she has to grip with the decision of, do I be a Starfleet officer? Do I support my boyfriend? Do I destroy his ship? You know what I'm saying? Just to prevent an all-out war between the 10C and everybody here in the Alpha Quadrant, She doesn't always make the right decisions, and especially in that one filler episode where it's like a bar. That was just a pointless episode. Speaking of which, I don't know the actress name. I think she's an operations officer. She's black. And she finally got something to do. However, what's weird, and I will say this right here, right now, like I said before, why does everybody have a tragic backstory in New Trek? It's like every time there's an officer that is of some type of importance to the show, the first thing that pops out their mouth is, when I was a child, this bad thing happened to me. And I'm just kind of like, is anybody happy in New Trek? Yeah, I complained about that a long time ago. I said people act like tragic backstories is new to Star Trek, and it's not, because other people have had tragic backstories, but it's the way they present it that's really weird and bizarre in New Trek. It's like every time somebody speaks, they always have to relay a tragic incident that happens in their life that does not relate to the actual episode. An example, Troy from TNG. her sister she never knew she had. That was a tragic backstory, and it actually was the plot of the actual episode, so it made sense to reveal that. But in New Trek, it's just like, oh, we're going on a away mission. Well, let me tell you this tragic backstory first. And it's always with that. And when they're not saying a tragic backstory, they're apologizing profusely to the commanding officer for some bizarre reason. It's just to give them something to say because the writers don't care about these characters. I do. I want to know their name, and oh, I know their ranks now. Everybody's a lieutenant commander now. Like, seriously, man, they didn't do nothing to earn that rank and position. Anyways, she feels like she has to go down on this planet and she has to help out. Why? They're just looking for information and looking for book. And then it turns out that, oh, in order to get what they need, you need to win this like cage fight. Nobody knew that until the situation occurred. So of course, all of a sudden now she's this ultimate fighter and she gets her butt kicked in the first 2 rounds. And the last one, all of a sudden, she's able to beat this really huge dude and everything. Also, Sonequa is not good at being an announcer. Okay. She's no, what's her name, Bruce Buffer or whatever. She's no him. But that was just a pointless episode, and they lost the thing that they were supposed to like win and everything. Another example of this is the pilot. I have no idea what her name is either. The white lady and stuff. The one with the robotic eye, not robotic thing on the side of her implant on the side of her head. It's 32nd century. Why has nobody fixed that yet? Seriously. So we get another tragic backstory and everything. And all of a sudden, for whatever bizarre reason, when they want to communicate with, like, you know, this alien species that they are unable to communicate with, they bring her for some reason. It wasn't like the planet had this rough like atmosphere where you can't fly through it. They just brought her for whatever reason. And then when everybody started freaking out and inhaling like the gas and everything, all of a sudden she wasn't affected and she didn't know why. But I forget why it was too. I think it's something about her suit was the only one not damaged or something like that, or she didn't touch something. It was just a weird episode, but it's like they bring in these characters and they don't give them nothing to do. Speaking of somebody who doesn't have anything to do, Jet Reno, I think that's her name, at least somebody a name I know, the chief engineer who does not act like a chief engineer. And why is she on the show? She's been there since season 2 and she's barely showed up. She never does anything engineering worthwhile and everything. And she takes order from Stamets, who's literally a science officer, but yet she's the chief engineer. In season 2, or no, season 3, she was always snacking on something. And now this season, she wants licorice. I am surprised that in the 32nd century, people are eating candy from like, you know, the modern day here. Like, it's not like we're eating candy from like the Roman and Greek days, because that's outdated, you know, and it looks different now. I mean, if you're going to eat a licorice, at least make it look different, like an alien licorice or something like that. But it bugs the crap out of me how she's a main character who's never on the show, never does what her character's supposed to do, and just says a bunch of one-liners and stuff. And when she's not doing that, she's insulting a male who's outranking than her. In season 5 that's coming up at some point, it turns out she's no longer a main cast member and now is going to be, I think, a guest starring role or something like that. She doesn't do nothing. The only time she did something is when she went on like Talik's ship and realized that he's lying to everybody, and she actually said something smart and scientific. It was about freaking time. Stamets is, I don't know, his role has been kind of reduced in a way. Like, he's basically trying to figure out the DMA, but the other dude, Talik, is way smarter than him. Stamets, in my opinion, is just there. He's literally just there, and I think they ran out of stuff for him to do. Dr. Hugh Cover, I think his name is. Why is he a counselor? Why in the world is a doctor a counselor? I have said this before. This man shouldn't even know how to counsel people. but yet they don't want him doing no medical stuff on the show, so they make him do counseling. And it's like, so we always hear these tragic backstories when he talks to people, or he brings up his tragic backstory of when he died or something like that. He still can't get over it. He talks to that one dude in a suit and glasses, which gets on my nerves. Why is he dressed so modern? And he's always going on away missions that for the most part he really doesn't have a place being on, because it doesn't revolve any medical stuff unless they write something in there. They're like, oh no, we're freaking out, and he can't even help them and stuff. I get it, McCoy went on so many away missions, but look, that was in the 60s, all right? Writing in Star Trek is so different now. And so I don't understand why he is a ship's counselor. They need to write him to do something very medical and everything. Adira is just kind of there this season. They don't even mention the whole them they pronoun thing like they did in the third season. Because she wanted to be, or Adira wanted to be called that, but then you're like, oh no, I've never felt like I belong to either one. So like, just call me them they, and they don't even address that this season. So where was the payoff in season 3? Adira was much more interesting in season 3, with the whole being human and having a symbiote inside them, and like, how Gray died and Gray was supposed to have the symbiote and everything, and the journey of trying to like figure out how to like survive and cope and like all this other stuff. And how Adira started off like very bratty because, oh, I'm a genius and everything, and I lied about this and lied about that and blah, blah, blah. And, then they made her or them a Starfleet officer, which they didn't even go to academy training. So that Tilly episode was interesting, and I'm glad she got sidelined, because it's kind of like, dude, you don't know everything. Stop acting like you know everything. You haven't even went to Starfleet Academy. And I don't like how Adira is just like an officer now, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think by the end of the season, I think they become like a lieutenant. I can't remember. And it's like, why? You haven't proven yourself this season. They don't do nothing. They barely hang out with Gray and everything. And they brought back Adira's cockiness in that one episode she was in, like acting like she's so much better than these Starfleet Academy officers and stuff. They do help out with the DMA trying to figure this and that out, but not much. As for Gray, you can tell the writers were just kind of like, what the heck did we do with this character? To the point of like inserting Gray in just to talk to the ship computer that's having like an AI, advanced AI, to the point of just like, all right, let's just write this character off screen. This character, like, it's weird because the character started off as, I don't even know what the heck the character was in season 3. He was kind of like a ghost spirit, something or another. Like, I don't know what exactly he was. Then they gave him a synthetic android body, which Hughes said that literally the only time this has ever happened was Jean-Luc Picard. Well, we see it happen with Data, so technically it's happened twice. But if that's so, really, you went like 1,000 years without doing that again? And so, like, but maybe he's talking about like a human or organic going into Android's body. So then that would make sense. But then they give Gray this body in season 3. Or was it season 4? I really can't remember. It was one of those seasons. I think it was season 4. They give Gray like a body, and after that, the character just doesn't appear no more until the character's like just talking with like Zola and everything. And so they play games, they talk about their emotions and how they feel, and that's basically just it. And they try to do I can't even think of this great Star Trek episode from TNG. Oh, The Measure of a Man. They try to do that with Zola, but not as good. And not even as good as like Strange New Worlds in season 2. So then Gray's all like, I'm leaving the ship. So it's like, you can tell the writers had no clue what to do with this character. But yet, what's weird about Gray and Adira is that when they brought them in season 3, they wanted to make everybody aware they were bringing in two LGBT characters that are non-binary and transgender, and they made like a big deal about it, even to the point where the Adira actress didn't even tell their parents and stuff. So they had to literally come out to their parents before the show outed them out and stuff. And this is why I said in the one video a long time ago, it just feels like CBS is checking off a box and trying to make everybody be like, wow, look what we have on the show, representation, but they don't do nothing with that representation. And it feels like exploitation and everything. Speaking of Zola and everything, we better have some type of conclusion, some type of like, I don't know, some type of resolution to that short trek episode, Calypso, because I just rewatched that just to get like, a feel for it, since 5th season is going to be like the last. And so like, then there used to be I'm 30 minutes in. Crap, this is supposed to be short. All right, so I do like the episode where Zola is kind of like, learning emotions, loving the crew, don't want to put the crew in harm, danger, and all this other stuff. I wish they would have went more into that instead of just one tiny episode for a couple of minutes. It's really fascinating in this old Trek, and they should have explored it a whole lot more. I think I got through all the characters. So Talik and Book, they are on a revenge plot, but for two different reasons. Book is driven by like revenge, and Talik just wants to get back to his lover and everything. And I felt like it was good season writing. The fact that here's this person who's not part of the Federation, but who lives aboard their ship and is dating the captain, and they're just out for bloody revenge. And this really puts the whole Starfleet nature of, we seek out life and explore it, we don't destroy it. So I do like the conflict with that. Talik, on the other hand, he's just out for like, he was this bad person, arrogant, rude, snotty person, who actually has a heart of gold because he just wants to get back to a person who made him happy that he left. Apparently, this person wants to travel through dimensions using a transporter, but he needs a power source, so he thinks the DMA power source will help. But this is why he's on this like selfish act and everything. It gets to the point of morality. It gets to the point of like, if he does this, it will destroy this terrible thing that's killing people, but at the same time, it could start a war, which this alien species, the 10C, they are not violent, but they will defend themselves and everything, and they do so when it comes to a Book and that of Talik and stuff. And so, like, I'm trying to like end this soon, so I'm trying to think of something to say. So it's kind of like, I do like the diplomacy aspect of it, but I do understand the nature of Book and Talik and stuff, but they are both like, because it's kind of like, you have to think about the greater good. You gotta be logical about this. Yes, you're pissed and you want revenge, or you want to get back to somebody you love, but it's gonna ruin other people's lives and could cause a devastating war, to the point where the Lady of Earth, she betrays like, the new forming of the Federation and stuff to help them out and all this other stuff. But eventually they are able to make peace with this alien species and stuff. And it took a lot, and especially it took Book to be all like, stopping your experiments is no good. You gotta shut down this weapon for good. And because they wanted to just go to planets that are uninhabitable and stuff. But he's all like, yo, man, that ain't good enough. Like, this weapon kills people. It harms people. It harms solar systems and stuff. And y'all need to put, like, a stop to it. I wish the alien species were more human looking instead of this giant kaiju looking thing. But it is what it is. Trying to think. Oh, one thing I did not appreciate. Now, I like the president of the Federation or whatever. I like her. I like the actress. But I'm so sick and tired of modern day television where they just demean men. Like, there's that one admiral. I don't know if he's an admiral, commander, or whatever. He's the Asian dude in the blue uniform. Like he's always snacking, just snacking, just snacking. I'm just like, I'm tired of people snacking in New Trek. I don't mind if they eat something, but stop snacking like a pig and everything. But what I really didn't like is that they wanted to write a situation that where he said something as like a joke that was dumb, and he got reprimanded by like that lady, and she literally just like tore into him just to like degrade him and make men look inferior and stuff. And I hate that. I'm so sick and tired of that in modern writing. I am level headed. I get why they do that in writing and stuff. It's the reversal role, but two wrongs do not make a right. And all you're teaching people is just degrade men, and it's like women empowerment. That is not women empowerment and stuff. That is just degrading and stuff like that. Also, what bugs me is how nobody's getting punished in New Trek. That lady from Earth who betrayed people, she never got punished. She got to keep her job. And Book, what the heck? He should be in prison and everything, but no, they're gonna give him like community service where he goes out and talk to other alien species. No, he's committed so many crimes. It was even to the point where they were gonna wanted to destroy his ship and him along with it and stuff. But they didn't even do that. Instead, he got a slap on the wrist, and he's coming back for the 5th season. There are no consequences no more. If Tom Paris can go to prison, so can they. Same thing with Girardi. She needs to be locked up. So those are just my thoughts of season 4 and everything. Like I said, 4 is not perfect, but it's a whole lot better than what it used to be. Even though I just stated all the bad stuff because, why not? Oh, the Asian dude left him out. Let me get to him real fast. They ain't do nothing with this dude. They took him on an away mission. He's like, I have to go to this away mission. I just have to go. Like, all right, why you have to go? And then he gives a tragic backstory. So then you think, okay, we're gonna see him on the away mission where they have to like get these prisoners out of harm's way to DMA. Nope. He just has one conversation via hologram, and then he's out for the rest of the episode. Why is anybody even on this show? Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.